if you take anything away from this, just like take away like start with a controversial and or bold claim, and then share exactly how you're going to deliver that, you know, in the video in like the first 10-15 seconds. It doesn't need to, you don't need to spend 3 weeks on a video.
Podcast has changed dramatically over the last 5 years, but especially in the last, I would say 6 months with YouTube. So I brought in my friend and podcast growth expert, Luis Diaz, who's the founder of top10podcast.com. This guy works with some of the biggest health and finance podcasts. And also him and I have this mastermind where monthly we talk about the latest and greatest of what's working for growth in terms of podcasting, but also video and other types of content. I'm just going to say, if you are leveraging podcast as a medium and video, or even other types of content, you're going to want to listen to this episode because you are going to get the framework of what's working best right now, organically and with paid traffic, leveraging podcasts to grow everything you're doing with the intention that this is going to get more of your target audience so you can lead them down the path to your business, help it grow your marketing and your brand and all that. So enjoy this episode with Luis. You're going to get a lot. You're going to get some templates as well. So make sure you follow the links and check out the description, show notes of this episode to grab everything that we mentioned. All right, enjoy. Hey, do you have more to-dos, less time, and an infinite number of tools to keep track of? No, I do. Doing business has never felt harder, but you don't need a miracle to hit your goals. You just need HubSpot. Because their all-in-one customer platform can make growing your business infinitely easier. Just imagine this: high-quality leads, fast-closing deals, wildly happy customers, and more benchmark-breaking quarters. It's not a miracle, y'all. It is HubSpot. So visit HubSpot.com to get started today. All right, Luis, we're back. It's been round 2. I think it was what? We were looking at it maybe 4 years ago, 3-4 years ago.
Yeah.
Crazy. Time flies, bro.
It does. It does. It feels like a lifetime ago almost because the way the landscape has changed too, man. It's like, I wish I could go back and, you know, slap the other Lewis on the head and say, do this, not that. You know?
Anything like, and for all y'all, we're talking about podcasting. We're talking about, you know, the ways we approach media and stuff. But like, what comes to mind if you look at previous Lewis, because I do this all the time with myself. It's like, how do I mentor my previous self? Because like usually your best customer, your best, you know, audience around you. Yeah. But like, what would you tell yourself? Maybe some top things.
I think I would just start investing more in video creation and just really studying YouTube, realizing that's the future. Now you realize it's the future. It's a little too late now, but yeah, doubling down. If I went back 2021, 2020, I'd double down on like YouTube, probably spend like $3 to $5 a day on just ads, on just like promoting a video and looking at like probably spending more time on like how-to tutorials. Because if you had like a really hot tutorial back then, or even further back, right? Like how to launch a podcast in my scenario, or how to grow a podcast and like make it like a 45-minute, hour-long training. I think if I could go back and like, if I did 3 videos that year, let's just say 2021, and they were just like, I spent $1,000 on the production on each of them. That would cost me a total of $3,000. And they were good videos. Those videos probably would have did great. You know what I mean? And it would have been like a really worthwhile investment. So it's like, I try to think of it now, like, you know, if I did 6 videos for the rest of 2024 and one of them popped off, just one, and I spent maybe $6,000 or $5,000 on total editing these videos and producing them, you just need one. Like I look at Sean Cannell and like Think Media, they have videos that make money for them like from years ago, but they're still driving traffic. And all the clients, this is a funny tip too, like, or just a tidbit I learned. The clients that we've worked with, it's like now I look at their channels, we do like audits every other week or every 2 weeks or every week. And the videos that they've produced, they were just like really good SEO driven videos. They're getting most of their traffic from search or suggested videos. And they're all from like 4 or 5 years ago. So it's like,
really? Wow.
Yeah. It's like, it's hard. They have a couple of ones that popped off nowadays too. If we get things right. We got one client right now. It's like, she's doing great because we kind of cracked the code on what her audience really likes and what the algorithm's responding to. But man, like, I just think less is more nowadays, and like spending money on good content versus volume.
I think you're right, man. And that's where, you know, like I was hinting at, not hinting, I was telling you, and we might have already restarted at this point when this episode goes live, but we took a proactive pause to on our second episode that we released this week. We do 2 a week, so we have like this Friday episode. And we're like, what if we paused and made that the YouTube focused content?
Yeah.
Like the interview podcasts or episodes I do are more audio focused because we're driven primarily by an audio platform before YouTube, made kind of, I mean, let's be honest, it was around the whole time. We just weren't thinking of YouTube.
We were just like, oh, it sounds like a lot of money. It seems like a lot of work.
Yeah.
People already crushing it over there.
It was like, oh, you're a creator, you're a YouTuber, you're not a podcaster, but it's like the lines are blurred. So like I would tell myself that too. And, Matt and I back in the day when we last interviewed you, it was 2 of us, we were trying to crack that code. And it's tough with an interview, type
It
show.
is.
Yeah. So that's why, like, we're proactively going like, okay, and this is with Sean Cannell's advice as well. I just at the time of this recording here, it was a week ago, I chatted with him, and he was like, yeah, when you put intention into a video and actually make it quality and focus on the engagement throughout, you're very specific with what you're putting in the video with that last edit. You're reflecting on what you're doing. He was saying there's still a quantity approach, but at the same time, it's with intention. Yeah. And I think he was saying it's like the first 50 videos you do are probably going to suck, but at the same time,
right,
you're putting that muscle out there. And then to your point, like, well, they could be evergreen, so they could still pop off, a couple years from now and be your best drivers.
Yeah, and it's just so weird. Like I see so many people in like the health space or the finance space, and their best videos from like 5-6 years ago, and they're still getting like the last 28 days. If you like tighten up the analytics to like look at your last 28-day analytics, there's still sometimes the top 1, 2, or 3 drivers of traffic, and it's like, my goodness, this video is from like 5 years ago, and it's like I don't see any podcasts doing that, or I don't have any podcast episodes that do that anymore.
Yeah, like not the audio driven stuff that won't do it, but SEO, like there's a couple of, the only way I know is because the affiliate promotions they'll still actually pay out commissions from new sales from well SEO'd show notes pages.
Right,
and that's something
that's cool.
done that for a good ever since the beginning, almost 8 years now for this podcast. So it's like that's why I've always touted the merits of like, hey, have something written that is well SEO'd, so at least Google can point people your way.
Do you still think that's like for a new show? Do you still think that's like worth doing? Like having like a pod pages, if they don't have let's just say they have like a website that's more like a services website. It's like there's nothing really on there. Like, do you think it's worth the value of putting up like a podcast focused website, and then doing the obviously the show notes really well?
I would tie it to your main domain. Like if you have it, because I mean, we're both kind of similar where we work with people who have a business behind their show, and they use their show as their marketing, their branding, the cultivating the right audience, all that stuff.
Yep.
So I would definitely put it on the same domain, so you have a place where that content to live. Maybe it's even like a blog category of your main website, but it's just called podcasts.
Got it.
Or you mentioned pod pages or pod page. Like I've never personally used it, but I know you can put a custom domain to it. And I don't know the intricacies, but like this is where the SEO you just got to look into, like, does that pass over, if you publish over there? Yeah, because that's I've had Gert Malik was did some episodes with an SEO expert. If people are curious, go to Gert Malik on hustleandflowchart.com. Just search for his name, Gert, and he goes down the rabbit hole when it comes to SEO and kind of some of the best practices. And I think it's still for a new show. The reason I would suggest is because there's tools like Cast Magic or Descript that you might already be using that are like $20-$30 a month, and it's like, it'll create that content for you. Might as well publish it, Whereas back in the day, we were spending like a good $150 per episode just to write that and make it all done up and published. And yeah, dude, times have changed, and this is where it's like video's even easier too, right?
True. Yeah, we've got a few clients now that spend their blogs do hundreds of thousands of views per month, like unique views, and they're the few people that I see spending the money on. It's because they have affiliate links in there, and they have they're making money through those sites. those pages where they're interlinking stuff, they're hyperlinking different episodes or different blogs they've done inside of the copy that we've written
Yeah.
for them. And it's like most people, I don't think that's really the right move if you're a services business. I think if you're like a product focused info expert, and you make a lot of money through affiliate links, then that's probably a good way to do it. Like probably spend the money doing that. Or yeah, they invest the time and energy in doing that. So yeah, I think that's definitely one reason. But for most people, I would say coaches, consultants, course creators, service providers, like YouTube, podcast, and then having just a really, really clean, value-driven opt-in, whether it's a cheat sheet, it's some kind of calculator, or something that's actually really good, not just something you saw that used to work 5 years ago. I think is really the main pieces I would focus on if you don't have those already.
That's the thing. It's like if you're doing this, just think of what's your end result. That's how I'm always thinking of in general. It's like, okay, why would you have a podcast of your own? And also, why would you guest on other shows? Because that's, having a call to action or having some intention rather than just showing up to blabber, which is all good. But at the same time, use that as an opportunity to self-select the audience you want.
Yeah. And then on intentionality, that's a great point you brought up there. So on YouTube, I think everything's about intentionality. Like the idea you pick, how you structure the video, the titles, the thumbnails. And I thought the most valuable thing for this episode I could do for you and the audience, Joe, is like go through just like a case. I'm calling it an episode brief, but it's basically like before I even hit record, like I'm pulling all of these resources together and just like structuring them. So I know the title, the thumbnail, the keywords, the common beliefs I'm going to use, the scripting, all the top performing videos in that section that have like similar videos that have performed really well from big creators, all of that, and it's actually helped me a lot. And I think mostly it's helped me in this area. It's how the first like 20 seconds, like what you actually say that gets the audience to stay.
Like the hook right at the beginning.
Exactly, the hook, yeah. And just after what I did was, and I'll show it to you in a second, I actually like looked at like probably like 5 or 6 like the best performing videos in the space, and I actually word for word just wrote down what they were saying, like typed it out, like listened to it, stopped, hit pause, typed it out, just so you can kind of understand and see it. And it's like, a copywriting trick was like, I forget who said this, but it was a really good famous copywriter. He was like, if you want to learn how to write copy, just copy sales pages.
Yeah.
Write them down word for word. And I used to do that in Starbucks, like 2016. That's how I learned copy. And it works for hooks too, I think.
I think the hooks are the biggest things. Matt Wolf, he was on the show and he broke down kind of how he's been going on YouTube. And the 3 things he talks about is thumbnails, title, and hook. And the hook's the thing you can't change once the video gets published. You can change the other 2. So
Yeah.
I would say that's probably the most important thing is to analyze what's working now and make it your own.
No, it makes it easier to think like a good hook writer if you actually just copy down the really good ones. Like take 5 or 6 videos and just write them down or type them out. And your brain starts to see the patterns, and then you see it on the screen instead of hearing it. You're like, oh, I get it.
Yeah, because this episode brief, I'm really curious because it sounds like this is like the brainstorming part before you ever create anything, like even the whole concept of the video, I'm imagining.
Yeah, like this has taken me 3 weeks to do. I haven't worked on it every day for like 3 hours, but like every probably like 4 hours, 5 hours a week, every week without even. This is like just before even pressing record.
Yeah. Before you get into that, I just want to because it's been 4-ish years or something since I had you on, and some people might know who you are, but just very briefly tell people what your company is, like who you're serving right now, and kind of like the big value prop that you give them. Yeah. And then so we're kind of laying the stage for exactly what the strategy can help out with.
That's a good point. Good point. So I'm so the company's name is we're called Top 10 Podcasts. We now focus mainly on video podcasts for health and finance experts. Really, that's kind of main focus. And finance is kind of a looser term where it's like business gurus or experts, as well as like real estate experts. So that kind of gets lumped into the finance category. But mainly, we help those people go from existing podcasts, so whether they have a show, we'll help them grow it on both YouTube and the audio side, and manage the production. Or if it's new, we'll help them with the concept and kind of create all those channels. And it's kind of a full end-to-end thing. So they just need to record it and then that's it. Yeah, the thing I think we've been talking about more so, Joe, is like nerding out on just how to grow these things and through different strategies just are actually working now because a lot's changed.
Oh yeah, things are changing all the time. Well, sweet. Well, I'm sure we'll get into some more of the strategies or maybe some best practices,
For
of
sure.
like growth. But I'm definitely curious about this whole episode brief, this process, because I feel like that's like a nice foundational thing that we can all at least
Yeah.
put in our brains, and then implement however that works best.
Yeah. And I'll actually send you this example of one when I'm done
Sweet.
too. So you guys can put it in the show notes or however we want it.
And you can share your screen if that's easier
Yeah,
for you as
dude.
well. Get some visuals going.
This is a whole bunch of ideas, but this is just kind of everything inside of these boxes is what we're talking about. So I'll kind of walk through it here. The first thing I need to know if I'm planning a video is like, what's the main idea of the video? Like, what should they get out of it once they're done? And I kind of, because I wasn't really sure where I wanted to take this video, I gave myself like three options of how I wanted to produce this. It's a little bit tighter now. I need to clean it up. That's one key part. The second is the keywords. So, one of the things I realized is like a lot of the people we work with, the reason why their videos are still ranking and still getting views is because they have the right keywords in there and it's got such good watch time that YouTube knows that like this video actually provides value when people click on it. So they keep it up there. So I just typed in like this video in particular is about podcast intros and how to make a great hook. So I was just typing in different ideas of like, what would people type in if I'm my ideal avatar? What are they going to type in to find out how to write or record a great podcast hook? So I just had a couple different ideas based on what YouTube gave me for these. Because what we're going to do with this is we're going to work this into the title. We're going to work this into the chapter marks. We're going to work this into the description. I'm also going to try and say this a bunch of times because YouTube's looking at what you're saying as well.
Yeah.
So those are the first two pieces, main idea and keywords that like we found on Google. And stop me at any time, Joe, if there's any questions you want to dive in something else.
We'll do.
I suppose to say combos. But next is like my favorite part, which is like episode and title thumbnail combos. So just like searching those keywords, these are all like the different videos that came up that were in my niche talking about how to write a good hook or how to write a good intro. And these are kind of like podcast focused or non-podcast focused ones. These are more like just talking about YouTube videos. So I did a couple different variations, but this gave me an idea of like, and also gives my team an idea of like what kind of intro, what kind of thumbnail should this be like? What should the copy look like on the video? I really like this visual here. I don't know if you can see it, but I'll zoom in.
Can't quite make it. Oh, okay. So it's like
Yeah.
a whole timeline edit. It looks
Yeah,
like.
and I think she does really good with this. Her name's April Ann Alter. She does really well with these, and she's had like two videos that have literally probably driven like most of her 49,000 subscribers. So it's just interesting stuff, right? Like, what works and what doesn't. Like you got Riverside.fm here, which we're using.
Yep.
They had a video that had 1.8 thousand views, 1.8K views. So all these things I give to my editors. So I'm like, hey guys, like look at these and like give me some like 3 or 4 different thumbnail looks, and then we can switch them out.
And the beautiful thing, I'll pause here, is thumbnails. You have the A/B tester now that YouTube rolled out. I think you can split test 3 thumbnails.
You can.
So yeah, load multiple thumbnails from day one.
Exactly. Yeah. So just looking at these, you can kind of see, it's a little small to see, but we can tell what's getting views, what's not. And just gives us some different ideas. So I love having that there for like idea's sake. Next is like title idea. So as you're creating this, like you're building gathering all this data, you're going to naturally come up with different titles for your own episode. So they threw them all into this box and just gave me some ideas. Next, thumbnail copy. I think this is actually sometimes more important than the actual title because people read it more.
It's like Netflix, right? Like you just see like this big image, and you're looking at images for the most part.
Right, right. So one thing I learned about thumbnail copy is like less is more. Like you don't want a lot of copy on your thumbnails, and the rule of 3 comes into play, where it's like there needs to be 3 key like objects, right? Like if you look at a lot of these, they have 3. They have 1, 2, 3, or 3 maximum, right? So it's like 1 or 2. This one has 2. This one has 3 key like focal points. So we try to keep it to 3 focal points maximum. So I try to keep the copy pretty minimal. And then this is like, I don't even know if this is useful. Again, this is like my 1.0 version of this, so I'll probably take this part out. But I figured as you're going through all these videos, a lot of times you figure out what are the common myths that a market has. So like back in the old days of podcasts, we would know that an intro, we would usually have a pre-recorded intro that would have like be like 20 or 30 or 40 seconds long, where it's like, welcome to the blah 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 podcast. This is your number one stop and shop for blah blah blah. It's like on YouTube, you don't need that, right?
Right.
And so it's a common myth that we still think some people still think you need that.
Hey, I'm pausing this episode really fast to shout out another show you should follow. It's called This Old Marketing. It's hosted by Joe Pulizzi and Robert Rose. These guys are expert content marketers. This show is also on the HubSpot Podcast Network, the audio destination for business professionals. Now, Joe and Robert on this show, they break down all of the latest content marketing trends and things you got to know as a business owner to attract and retain customers. They break down old marketing strategies called This Old Marketing Examples from the past and apply it to the now. So super useful. It is entertaining. They love to rant. Joe and Robert do. So I always love a good rant. And just go check it out yourself. Go check out their latest episode. Listen to This Old Marketing wherever you get your podcasts. Hey, are you tired of the hassle of building sales funnels? I totally get it. I've been there. You started your business not to be chained to your laptop all day. You built it for freedom. And thankfully, there is an all-in-one platform that makes it easier for you so you can focus on attracting customers online. The platform is called Kartra, and it gives you all the tools you need to grow your business. The best part is Kartra comes stocked with all the done-for-you campaigns, so you don't have to worry about thinking about building from scratch. Everything is designed, connected, and written for you already. It also leverages AI to help you with some of this writing. All you gotta do is just customize this to your liking, and then boom, you got a fully built sales funnel for you. This is marketing made easy, so go try it out for free. 30-day free trial over at hustleandflowchart.com/Kartra will get you there. So again, that's hustleandflowchart.com/KARTRA.
And then this is kind of like my opening hook after like looking at all these videos and figuring out all this other stuff. But going back to kind of like the part I mentioned before around other hooks. So this is all just copy from like listening to the channels to these videos on YouTube and then just writing down what they're saying. From like,
So
I just
you're
look at,
literally
like,
listening there and just like
pause.
verbatim, or at least best you can.
It's
Yeah.
a pain in the ass. Yeah, it's so
So that's how you
frustrating.
learn, like you said.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I liked it because at the end, like there are some videos here that crushed it. And I could see some patterns of like their language. I could see the patterns of like what is like pretty much all the videos that crushed it. The number one thing they had in common was they always started with a bold or controversial claim. All of them. Whether it was like, I'm going to show you how to make 1 million views, whether that's ethical or not. We're not going to get into that. But like they all, it was either controversial, like very in your face of like, I don't know if I agree with that, or it flies in the face of normal common knowledge, or a very bold claim about what they're going to show you. I only learned that or saw that after like looking at all these videos and actually writing them down and saying like, oh, like there's a very common thread between these. And you can see tons of typos because I was trying to type fast.
I love how messy it is because it's real. And if you're not looking at visuals here, definitely go to YouTube and Lewis, like you said, you'll share this doc or a template.
Yeah, I'll share the template doc and I'll kind of leave my stuff in here. And then once I was done, I was like, all right, let me come up with my hook. And then, I'm linking videos here just for research. And also like my editor is probably going to pull from all these clips, right? So yeah, like this has been super helpful. You see I've got comments on the side here of like, hey, like let's add a little graphic like this into the actual video. Because I think this would be really cool. It's a lot of work, but it actually really helps when you get to the edit. Now, do I think this is practical for a business owner who content is like their fifth job? Probably not, right?
Yeah.
If you take anything away from this, just like take away like start with a controversial or bold claim, and then share exactly how you're going to deliver that, in the video in like the first 10, 15 seconds. You don't need to spend 3 weeks on a video.
Kind of like what Sean was saying, because we talked about that. I mean, like,
Right.
hey, like not everyone has time, like a full-time job to dedicate and create this content. But if you get the structure right and you kind of do it in a way where you're working that muscle, and I think that was the big takeaway, is just like put the content out there. It's a quantity kind of game, but at the same time, like just get yourself in that rhythm of learning. Because I would assume this process gets faster and faster,
Yeah.
because now you figured out that flow for the hook, which is probably
Yeah.
like, 80% of the game because you're trying to get them engaged in the video and then you got them.
And the cool thing is, once I have this, I could probably hand this off to a copywriter or a team member and say, here's the idea of the video. Go and find 20 other videos and link them like I did here. Like you can actually outsource some of this pre-work. It doesn't mean you can outsource the idea creation. Like I still think you have to come up with the idea of the video, right? Like I didn't outsource the video idea. I came up with it and then did all this work, but you could outsource the kind of the research part of this, which is nice. So yeah, like I don't know. And my thinking is like I do 6 videos the rest of this year. If one of them takes off and gets 40,000 views, I'll probably get more subscribers than that than I did a consistent weekly episode that got 500 views.
Oh yeah, 100%. And that's the case, I think, for like podcasters. And this is why we did this pause and like why we're actually doing this is because in using a process similar to this, we don't have like a perfect structure yet, but it's kind of following, Sean Cannell has a whole big structure of what he recommends. I like yours. This kind of gets like the ideation phase and you go deep into it. Because like let's be honest, when we're doing podcasts, it's tough to get this specific. You can maybe engineer the hook of an episode, but
Right.
yeah, I mean, in terms of like a longer episode, because it's all about watch time. That's really what Sean came. And that's how your channel or your videos will get pushed out to a wider audience. Is if you're proving to YouTube their algorithm that like, all right, you're retaining people on content. It's tough with that interview, just as is.
It definitely is tough with the interview. I think solos are kind of like the hero. Like you can do this with solo. I can't do this really well with an interview because I don't know what the guy's going to say. So with the interviews, I think the best advice I would give is just like focus on that first minute and and then just with the guest, like probably a good idea to sit down and have an idea of what you're going to talk about. One central idea, right? That way it's just easier to package it. Like I had Alaric Heck on my show about a month ago, and it was all about like I texted him. I was like, hey, I just want to talk about YouTube in feed ads. I don't care about sales conversions. I don't care about anything else. It's like let's just break down how you can grow your channel with YouTube in feed. He's like, let's do it. So I think like just having a central idea like that helps.
That's good. Alaric's coming on the show pretty soon here too. I was just texting with him as well. Yeah, and guy's a baller with the YouTube stuff and the paid ads.
Oh
cool.
Yeah, big time.
I mean, and that's the thing. Like, well, you talked about because we did mention ads before. The paid stuff, and when I had him on Cannell, he was talking about organic. And obviously you gotta work both. I mean, I guess you don't have to, but at the same time, it still comes down to engagement in the video. Like if you want people to actually start engaging in the video, and you want YouTube to help you out too, so you're not maybe always reliant on the paid stuff, but. I guess what's your mindset going to that? Like thinking organic versus paid, how they play together?
That's a great question. So we've run paid ads somewhat successful. When I say somewhat successful, like I think we've generated like 5,000 new subscribers for one of our channels through paid, which is awesome. Granted, that channel's big, successful already. It's like 5,000 is probably like I want to say 5% of their, maybe less like 2% of their like total channel, right? So it's a big channel already. However, it's growing faster than it was before. So I think you have to find the winners. Like if you have a really good video that's doing good on organic, it's just funny. Alex told me this. He's like, don't run it as like an in-stream ad, like those skippable ones at the beginning of a video, because then if it's like 2 seconds watch time and your video starts getting 2 seconds watch time versus like 2 minutes, it's going to tank the retention. And it's actually going to destroy it. He did say that in-feed ads, running them as ads, running like a really good video as an in-feed ad is okay, as long as like the retention or the watch time doesn't go like drastically down. So that's what we're doing. Like we find the winners of the YouTube channel, and then we will go ahead and just run ads to it and test it. And like we'll test it with a very small audience, right? And that's been working quite well. Like I think I was looking at this morning, we have one of our videos running to like $5 a day, cold traffic. Nice. on YouTube in feed ads, it's getting like 19% of the people who watch it stick to the end.
Whoa.
It's got
Okay,
over
that's really good.
like
Yeah.
it's insane. Yeah. And it's a very specific video about a very specific topic that if people are going down that rabbit hole, like it's a great video for them. So it's done really well in organic, and we're like, let's just throw some money behind it. And the the amount of viewers and subscribers we've gotten from that is pretty impressive. So
And you're targeting the type of people too. Yeah,
yeah,
you can
exactly.
be very specific and at least like and yeah, and I'm just thinking of like if you already have because Google Analytics, I mean that's also a massive benefit from like the
Yeah,
podcast side. Anyone who
yeah,
has a podcast knows like analytics there have lacked forever. But
yeah.
YouTube is like a whole different beast.
The last thing I'll say is so the thing that's working for us on the targeting. So you can target by keywords or you can target by like similar videos. So what I did is it's a very specific topic about a certain in the health space. I went and looked at all the top performing videos from other channels on those. So now it's like when you click on a video about that topic, my video is going to show up on the right hand side as a suggested search,
Ah,
as a suggested video. And that seems to be getting higher watch time. So for context, we have like two different SKUs. The one that's running for keywords actually gets more subscribers, but we're the one that we said, hey, target like show this video to people who are watching a similar video. So I forget what it's called, but it's like it's a relatively similar video. That actually has better watch time and less subscribers, but the watch time is insanely higher. So I keep both of them because like I want both.
right.
But it's interesting how depending on the targeting you do, keywords versus like related videos, I'm getting the name wrong, so that's definitely not the technical term. It'll perform very differently because the audience you're showing it to.
This is the thing. There's so much to play with on YouTube,
Oh
and
yeah,
I genuinely think like that's the platform where, like, as a creator, and I think I would like define that as someone who's just wants to put their thoughts out to the world. So
yeah,
I don't think it really matters what type of business you have. Obviously, there's different strategies and intention, but like if you're out there sharing your ideas and you want to genuinely give to more and maybe the intentions to get leads and the right prospects, well,
sure,
you don't need, the hundreds of thousands of viewers or even subscribers that is, but just like
no,
it's the right people who are engaging.
big
Um,
time,
and YouTube's going to help you find those people, as long as you're treating YouTube and their algorithms correctly, which,
right?
yeah, watch time, I think sounds like it's the biggest mechanism or the biggest KPI that they're looking at. Time
Yeah,
on site, on platform.
yeah.
So,
It's definitely hard. It's definitely hard to get people to stick. I mean,
yeah.
I think it comes down to obviously the audience, like who that's being shown to, because you can have the best video, but if it's shown to the wrong audience, it's not gonna do well. But then also just like the intentionality and like I think the better you show that you know their problems, like if you're a course creator or service provider, like if you can really show that you know their problems, even if you only get 100 views, if the watch time is really good, it's like that's great. Like you may just have a small total accessible market,
Yeah.
but like we're really serving the crap out of them. So I think it's a fun game. I'm interested in it, and
Yeah.
I think this like, keeps me going, man. It's just interesting nut to crack.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like, and I don't think it's too late for anybody, and even podcasters
Right.
who've been, you can see some of these video podcasts have been starting to blow up, like Diary of a CEO. It's like, and I think some people are a little delusioned because like, wow, look at that beautiful setup, the studio and all this stuff. And, it's in person, but I don't think that's the thing. It's more like what we're talking about here, the hooks, and being
Yeah.
very intentional. Even in an interview podcast, it could always be set up with you prior to, maybe even the guest. If you didn't record perfectly, with some setup hook, you can
Yeah.
come back and
Yeah.
do that. But speaking to that individual and then like really opening some loops, solving the things, like I said, being bold, being controversial, like that applies here. Whereas a lot
They're
of
perfect.
podcasters aren't really thinking that way.
No, no. And they're the perfect one. If you look at their strategy, like Diary CEO, Modern Wisdom, their strategy is like we want to go broad mass market.
Yeah.
So like if I think Patty Galloway, yeah.
Yeah.
He's a genius at this, but he worked with Noah Kagan, and if you look at Noah Kagan's channel, it's blown up. And the reason why is because like you have like this market of like here's like entrepreneurs, but then like this market of like people who are interested in business stuff, but they're not necessarily entrepreneurs is way bigger. And the way they changed their videos, they went from like talking to like very niche stuff like how to hire or how to like onboard somebody to like I asked a billionaire how he made his money or how he made his first million. Still business related, but a lot more people are interested in that one versus like how to onboard another employee.
And it's bingeable too. Like
Yeah.
you're gonna want to watch like 5 of them, not like 5 tutorials necessarily in a row, but maybe 5 like, oh yeah, this is cool and it's
Yeah.
shareable, it's clippable, it's like all of these things.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So there, yeah, that mass market approach is really interesting because I think it's different from like, yeah, you need both. I think you need you need like very specific niche content to prove that you're an expert and why people want to
Right.
work with you. But also, if you want to get more views and more traffic, you need to go broader in mass market and broaden up the content topics a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah, it's widening the net. And let's be
Hmm.
honest, it's like once you have them in that ecosystem, then I mean the idea is to send them to the next path. If that's
Yeah.
lead capture, community, where now you
Hmm.
have them engaging on a different level.
Yeah.
So cool, man. Well, that's a big one because I know the focus on YouTube when we've been chatting in our little kind of
Yeah.
mastermind we do every month, a little virtual
Yeah.
thing. YouTube's always the thing. Before we wrap, like, are there any other big, like trends or things you're noticing from the people that you're auditing? 'Cause you say you do these audits
Mm.
for everyone's accounts, but like any other things that stand out, maybe even on the audio side?
I wouldn't sleep on audio because still think audio is super important. I was talking to a client yesterday, and they're like, "Yeah, we make most of our 80% of our leads, like on the application. This is like a high ticket business owner. He was like 80% of like our closes come from people who have said yes to I listen to the podcast, and that's why I'm here. So audio, and this is like a high ticket business as well. They've had their podcast probably like 7 or 8 years. But again, don't sleep on it. I think the biggest thing that I've seen grow podcasts this year is podcast pod swaps. So using Chartable, their smart promos feature, where you can track, like you can put an ad. I can put an ad in your podcast show for my show, and I'll do the same for you. We can trade traffic on like saying like you put it in for 4 episodes or 1,000, however many impressions.
Yeah.
That's really worked well. Now it's not gangbusters. It's not like I'm getting tons of new traffic, but I'm getting real people who are interested in podcasting and they're flowing in for free. So like we've gotten people like anywhere from I would want to say high end like 10,000 new downloads over the course of like 6 months, additional downloads. To like the low end, like we had like some campaigns aren't always going to pop off. They'll get like maybe like 100, 200, 300 new downloads.
But you're self-selecting. I feel like that again, it comes back down to like who are the core type of listeners, and if you can gain like an extra 100 people or so
Yeah.
on listening to your show consistently, and having them subscribe. I always think of the what was it the not the Dream 100 but 1,000 True Fans
Yeah.
concept.
Yeah.
Kelly talked about it. It's like you have that, and it's 1,000 people who are tight into your message, into whatever you're putting out there,
Exactly.
and everybody can grow and scale. 1,000 people listening per episode. I mean,
Right.
not everyone will get there, but consistency and doing these types of swaps and a few other guesting on other shows. I know
Hmm.
we've talked about it. It's like it's just a consistency game. It's kind of like YouTube, and then over time, it's like you get these
It
core
compounds.
people that will follow for years.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, I've seen that. That's where it's like my prime community for this show is still on audio. And
Hmm.
like even more so than email or other communities, I want to change that a little bit to have
Yeah.
more of a community element. Like we used to have that Facebook. I might switch it up to more like Circle or something. But the point is like have a destination,
Yeah.
and from YouTube it'll be the same thing. It's like, hey, what's the next step look like? People sometimes take them to Patreon, for instance, or their own community, but it's like send them somewhere where you can now have that
Right.
deeper conversation.
That's phase 2 for me. I haven't got that far yet, but
Yeah,
still trying to crack the YouTube thing.
we're working on it, man.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it, man.
Sweet. Well, tell folks where we mentioned top10podcast.com is your go-to
Yep.
place. I mean, if any of this interested you, if you have a show that wants some scaling, I mean, Lewis is the man. His video on the page, it's like only a 4-minute video, but it's like super engaging. I'm like, dang, if I had a testimonial reel like that, that would be feel pretty good about myself. But,
Thank you.
Yeah, man. Like any last final words here before we wrap? And I know we'll be
Yeah.
doing it again.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm gonna have you back on my show, and then we're gonna talk about a swap or doing like an ad swap and doing like a live example. That'd be
I
fun.
want to do it, man. Let's do it.
So I have 673 sponsors contact info if you want that for like podcast sponsors. These are all like my team spent like 40 plus hours scraping the internet.
Sweet.
I'm
Yeah.
like, let's just like get a bunch of people, put them in a spreadsheet, and give it for free. So there's 673. I think we've probably added a few more since then. Maybe not. But if you want that, go to best place to go to is revenueperdownload.com. And I'll make sure the site's there. Revenueperdownload.com. There is a calculator there that'll help you like fill out your stuff. But you fill it out, the first email that comes through, it has a link to that spreadsheet on those for those all those subscribers or for all those contacts. So if you want that, they're like we have it like itemized like different categories. So depending on what your show's about, you can get some sponsors hopefully and reach out to them.
Heck
So,
yeah. Yeah, revenueperdownload.com. That's the calculator. I remember using this too. It's a cool calculator. And the fact that you've already identified who's spending money with podcasters as an advertiser.
Yes.
Like
Yeah,
I know
it's fun.
most people aren't making a cent from their podcasting efforts. And
Right.
sponsors aren't always the thing. It depends on a lot of factors, but shoot, at least like this is a great way to start. So
Right.
thank you for that. Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome.
Crack that nut. So revenueperdownload.com. And you can learn a little bit more about Lewis and what he's doing there too. Brother, appreciate you, man. And
Thank you.
yeah, let's do it before another 4-year gap because I'm sure podcasts will be radically different. Probably won't even be called podcast anymore. Who knows?
No.
Getting there,
Metacast or something. Yeah.
Metacast. No, don't take us. Suck. All right, man. Have a good one. Appreciate you.
Thanks, brother.